ah, ah, got off early tonight and I'm feeling all right. Yeah. How y'all doing out there? Got off early tonight and I got home to my garden out there. It was about 7 p.m. and dark outside here in Zone 7B, Maryland. And it's a situation where I was watering my gardens late at night. That's what I do. They call me the morning gardener for a reason. I do it early. I do it early. Get up 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and start working in my garden. Um, but this time around, I watered all my collard greens and kale, and I did something I planted this year, which is giant spinach. That's what I did this year, giant spinach. And I'm all excited about it because it's giant spinach. And it's a variety that is very cold hardy, from my understanding. So we'll see how that grows. If it does well, and I have a good opinion that it will do well, I will use this each year in the spring and also in the it'll be done in the fall because I plan on uh, the seeds from it is what I want. See, the seeds from it, I can come online and make sure people out here get some of the seeds. I can also have seeds for myself, and like my mustard greens, I grew my mustard greens 4 or 5 years ago, and I still have seeds from those plants. Um, and the great thing about growing mustard seeds and saving the seeds is the seeds are valuable. They are beautiful seeds. I have seeds from kale. I have seeds from collard greens. Um, I have seeds from giant. Uh, it's called giant tree kale, and so I have seeds from that. So I'm doing pretty good. Seeds is what I'm interested in saving now because to keep going and buying those seeds and getting seeds that aren't familiar with your soil, seeds that are expensive, seeds that will not grow in your particular climate. Once you find something that grows well and you like the way it tastes, um, keep growing it. Just keep growing it right there. That is what you should keep doing is growing what works for you. And I brought in some pepper plants. Um, they were in trays. What they were is plants that I left growing in containers. I never put them in the ground because I just had too many peppers I was putting in the ground. So these peppers are adult plants. So I brought them indoors for the fall and winter. So the only trick to that is that if you have, let's see, these are branches on the stems or whatever on the plant where the leaves are, you just simply clip off where the leaves are. And that way the plant will send out more leaves, but it will be more tolerant for being indoors as opposed to bringing them in with the leaves on because the leaves just require too much energy to keep those leaves alive. Um, so you want to cut them back so that you have a plant that'll make it in the house. The thing about it is pepper plants like a lot of sun, so you bring them indoors. It's just some will somewhat diminish. I'm looking at them right now. There's a total of 5 plants that I brought in. So some of you could try to do that is to bring in some plants that you want to hold on to and make sure that you keep those plants because I mean, why start another plant in the late spring, early summer, just to have them grow up and then you get some food from them, as opposed to putting a plant out there that's already an adult, put it out there, put some food underneath of it, and have it just shoot off and start growing. I got that idea from it was a farmer that used to be on YouTube. He's not on YouTube anymore. He had plants that were like 5 or 6 years old that were pepper plants. And all he did was bring them in each year. And some of them were as big as 4 feet tall, and he would cut them all back and bring them back indoors and then and repeat that process. And it was just a wonderful thing because he had all these It looked like hundreds of peppers on this plant. This plant was already mature, and all he wanted to do was bring it back outside, put the food underneath of it, keep it watered, and once it would start growing again the way it does in the summer, he was all set. And so he would do that. So I got the idea from that gentleman, an older farmer, and that's how you get it done, folks. That's how you get it done. Yeah. So I just loved it. I mean, thank you for the thumbs up. I see it there. Um, and I just feel like once you get the hang of your gardening style and what you like to do, you know, you'll be more successful at it because it does take a little time. And each time you do something each year, you start learning something different. You start learning something totally different because you keep learning. These plants keep showing you things, and they keep telling you to learn more. Okay, well, you got to tell us about your garden sometime you get a chance. Oh, thanks again for the thumbs up. Thank you. Um, I'm happy because even though we here in Maryland had a lot of rain this year, I don't know if any of you had that situation. We had so much rain that it pretty much ran you out of the garden because it was just way too much rain. So um, you want to make certain that you keep everything in your garden kind of looked after. But this year it rained so much, it kept me out of the garden. It kept the soil wet, and I don't believe in walking on wet soil because it compacts it just too much, and I don't want to do that. Being as though I do not till, I don't believe in tilling, and I don't knock anyone if they want to till. But the soil life that I have in my soil, I want to make certain that I do everything I possibly can to not only stimulate it and bring more life into my soul, but the life that's there, I want to take care of it. Whatever homes they build, I want the homes to stay there. I want the homes to be a place where they can live. I want to bring food into the garden so they can eat. That's why sometimes I'll go out there with the tractor and I will cut the weeds down, the grass down in the garden, and I will leave it there on the ground for it to do one thing: feed that soil. Because a lot of times, everything you need, if you're talking about growing items, from seeds just to the ground, what happens is that earth needs you to take care of it, and you want to leave the ground better, than it was when you found it. And the thing about it is, you can achieve that through organic matter. And a lot of us are suffering with our gardens because we just don't have enough organic matter, and a lot of that because it's hard getting it there, or people try to go out and buy it, but you don't have to buy it. Now, fall's coming in. I keep preaching this over and over and over again. But fall is here now in zone 7B, and you got lots of trees that are going to be out there, and they're going to be shedding leaves, and those leaves are valuable. They are so valuable, they absolutely are considered black gold because when you set them outside, the city or the county comes along and bags and they pick this stuff up. They take them to a special place. It's a special place where they rip open the bags, check the content, grind these leaves up, and they keep turning them every so often. They create this black, pure compost. They bag it up and they sell it back to the people for $4 and $5 a bag. And it's not a bad deal. Oh, hello, hello. All right. It's not a bad deal when you take care of your garden. Get those leaves. If you have a pickup truck, it makes it easier. If you have neighbors that'll bag it up and bring it over there to you, that's even better. Um, but leaves are just priceless. You are 100% correct. You are 100% correct. Uh, when you do container gardening, um, you have to stay on track. Well, you already know this. You're doing container gardening, but some for those out there that don't know, container garden requires you. You're the mother and the father. You bring all the food, and you bring the water to the plant. The plant does not have the ability to go out and look for food because it's in a container, of course. But the soil mix. When you first start out, I do a 50-50 mix of a compost or a type of manure. I do a 50-50 mix of that in a topsoil. That's my base. I start with that. And then depending on what's going in there, so like if I'm doing tomato plants, I'll put in some Epsom salts. I put in some bone meal, some blood meal. I also put in uh, um, uh, and like an all-purpose fertilizer that's organic. I put that in there and I mix this stuff up. Um, Now, when I do this, I can also use when I wet the soil down. I use I make this tea from weeds and grass, and I let that ferment for about 3 to 4, maybe about 3 or 4 weeks. And then you add that in there, and that's just a liquid just to really give your plant a quick feeding. And that'll last for maybe about 7 days. And then, so they can already start eating. And then once the roots start seeking out food, then they got all this food in there they can feed off of for anywhere from 2 to 3 months. And that's how you want to do it. You want your tomatoes big and sweet. You want your cucumbers to be crisp. And well, I did my cucumbers this year in the ground. I just did them in the ground, but I used the same method that I use in containers. Dig a big hole, a foot and a half wide, 8 to 9 inches deep. Filled it in first with the tea from my weeds and my grass, but I just filled the hole up to about halfway, let it drain down, and then I put in my ingredients. Boom! I put in the all-purpose fertilizer. Put in the oh god, let me get this right. Blood meal, bone meal, Epsom salt, and then I put a layer of soil over top of it. Once I put that layer over top of it, I set the plant right on top. That's fun for me because I set the plant on top. I put the soil back around it, water again with my liquid tea, and once that plant in about a week taps into all that food supply. It's just so much fun to watch that plant go crazy because first you're looking at a plant that's you put them in the ground, they're about 8, 9 inches tall. And by the way, you grow your own seedlings. Stop paying $3, $4, and $5 for these seeds. Don't do that. It's just look. It's just a waste of. It's a. I'm sorry. Some of you might not have time or want to mess with um, plants like that. I don't mind. I grow a bulk tray like that. I grow a bulk tray 6 by 8 or whatever, and I sprinkle the seeds on top. Then I sprinkle some vermiculite on top of that and moisten it down, and they break right through. And then once they get big enough, then I start putting them off in their own little pots, 3.5 inch, and then it goes all the way up to 5, depending on when I start them and how long I have to keep them indoors based on the weather. Long story short, once I get that done, um, oh my goodness, you got plants that are huge that you get ready to put in the ground. Now these plants, excuse me, I get excited when I think about plants like that. You're not spending nothing. You bought the plants of seeds. You spent $2. You still have a half a pack of seeds or more than that left over when you sprinkle that down. And then these seeds start growing up, and they get about that tall. And make sure you keep the light on them properly so they're not getting all lanky. That's the only key. And then once they bust through the soil, pull the heat mat out of the plug because now you're going to make them lanky when you leave that heat on because you don't need it after once they break through. So you put that light down there as close as you can get on that plant, and every time they grow up, you move it up, you move it up, you move it up like that. That's all you do, and they'll get real thick stems when you do that. Another thing, when you put the plant on that food supply, you should just see it. It's crazy, and you automatically know what's going on. The biology in the soil comes over to that area, and they start eating up all that stuff that's in there. They eat, excrete their waste. They live, they die, they enjoy themselves in that area. That's what they do. Once they get down with what they're doing in the area, they live, they die right there in that area. Rain comes into play, and that moisture sets everything into motion so that plant could just simply drink in its nutrients. And once it does that, your plant has no alternative but to get big and strong as hell. Excuse me, strong and big. But here's the deal: once that plant starts to grow, nothing you can do to stop it. It's just your cucumber plant will get crazy on you and it will take off. The stem will get big. The leaves will be huge on this plant and they'll just grow up. And then your biggest thing is I gotta get a trellis out so that I can get this thing together because this thing is getting out of control. Now that your plant is getting big. Your neighbor's plant is not even at that point, and he started before you. But you're starting to get cucumbers. And before you know it, a couple of days you go to work back and forth for about 2 weeks, and you start noticing now the cucumbers are getting around eating size. Then you accidentally don't check your plant for a week. Now you go out there and look. There's this huge cucumber sitting there that looks like a baby watermelon. And you know that you got to get excited over that, even though, sometimes you can't eat them when they get that big, but you might find something to do with it. You might be able to eat it. Some people like them like that, but they get huge. I have a video. Oh God, I can't call the name of it, but it's got some cucumbers in it. I couldn't even believe the size, so that's why I videoed them and put the video out there. But I got to tell you, I learned something that year. The stuff that I use, when I tell you that weed and grass tea is nothing but the truth, it is the truth. It is the truth. You want your plants to not want for anything. That's the key. The soil you put them in, you could actually grow them in poor soil if you set them up their food supply. Um, that hole that I said dig, foot and a half across, 8 to 9 inches deep. Fill it up halfway with the tea. Now it's all of that's there, and the biology is going to come into the area and start feeding. All you want is the biology. You just want the biology to build up in that area, and they'll take care of themselves once you do that. You don't have to. But what if it's going to grow? What if my tomatoes are going to be big? Or what if my um, cucumbers are going to be anything to them this year? You don't have to worry about that. You set up all the elements and put them in the right sunlight, which is the proper location, and they will take care of the rest. And that's just a beautiful thing. Then you try to plant you even got companion plant. You might want to do companion plants. And there's different techniques, but these gardeners that are experts, they understand one thing. Plants don't need you. They really don't need you. These plants that man created, they're not as strong as the plants that Mother Nature put there. Because Mother Nature put plants there. We call them that we don't have names for. We call them weeds. We'll call them weeds, but these weeds are so resilient. They come up and sometimes all winter long. They're there. They grow in the hottest weather, and it doesn't affect them. And they will grow. You can pull them up and take them out of the ground and just keep coming back. They are survivors. And these plants, when you make a tea out of them, oh my God, it's like giving your plant that man made, which is could be a tomato, could be kale, it could be you're making them plants, you give them superfood. And that tea, you know, if you put it in the ground, whole strength, you can put it on a fruit tree. But when you come to your plants, you want to do 1 part to 10 parts water. And the best water on earth to use for your garden, you already know what that is. It's rainwater. Or you can use water from a stream. But it's rainwater. That's why rainwater does so well. With my garden, I created the rain barrel system because I was watching many videos online and I saw all these guys and they had these rain barrel systems. And they were talking about the fact that you save money on your water. And I think that's important because as if you're like Maryland, Maryland's going up on their water. Maryland's getting high as hell on their water. Every month you look at that bill, you see not just change added to it, but dollars added to that water bill, even though you're using less water because of the fact that water is more expensive. Now, that being said, I said, wait a minute, I garden every year, through the fall, through the spring, and the summer. I garden. I'm not going to be paying extra money to produce my food. So I said, I need a rain barrel system. And I said, how much water do I think I need? First, I was going to do 200 gallons. I started out with 2 drums. I got excited. I put them together and I did what I had to do. And there was my rain barrel system. And I let them fill up and empty out, fill up, empty out. And I was excited about it. Then I put in a pump, it's called an on-demand pump. It's made by Shore Flow. Shore Flow makes a beautiful pump. About $80 a pump, I believe it is. I get 100-pound PSI. I don't want no less than that because when I run it through a hose that's 100 feet away from me, I need my water to move. I need it to do what I need to do. I don't need to be out there all day. So, long story short, the water I use is just better for the plant, and I don't pay for it, and I love that. So, the best water, plenty of food for your plant, and the right types of food so the plant gets what it needs: calcium, and you got the blood meal in there, which is high in oh God, I can't think of the name of nitrogen and things like that. You put all that stuff in there. Dark green leaves, beautiful fruit, sweet tasting, and I'm gonna tell you something. I have my lady hooked on my tomatoes. She don't want the grocery store tomatoes anymore. She don't want them anymore. Okay. All right, all right. And I just love it, man. I love when people write back forward, writing, leaving information here. Now, tell me, are any of you planning on adding anything new to your garden this year? When it comes around the time when you do your garden, are you thinking about adding anything new? Anything that you haven't grown before? Mhm. Okay, okay, all right. Let's see this year. Fruit trees. Wait a minute, fruit trees in containers. I thought about that before. I thought about that. Let me just say this to you. I don't know how you're gonna. I don't know what kind of root stock you have them on. But I have 25 fruit trees, and let me just say this to you. Those suckers got big because I kept putting. Uh, I would cut my weeds down. I'll cut my grass down. And I would put it under or around the base of those trees. I would put wood branches and things like that underneath the around the tree. And those trees, if you go out there now and look at them, you can't find some of that wood that was there. You cannot find it because all it did was rot down and it became food for those trees. And those trees this year, because of the rain that we received, now catch this now. These were supposed to be dwarf trees. These trees were close to 20 feet tall. And the information that I received when I bought the trees said these trees will get about 8 to 10 feet tall. That tree was 20 feet tall. 20 feet tall it was. And I had to cut them down this year because I refuse to have any tree over 6 or 7 feet. And that's what I do. I keep them down. And also the apple trees that I got now they look like little baby trees. Oh, they're all sweet and innocent. And you look at them, and I planted them. I planted them kind of close to the house, I think, but I don't think they'd be a problem. But wait until they really start growing because they're about two, maybe 2.5 years old, but they're gonna get a lot bigger than that. I already know it because my cherry trees took off, my peach trees took off, my plum trees kind of holding back. They actually tried to the second year they tried to give me some fruit and didn't quite. They blossomed. One tree blossomed and that was it. But the peach trees usually start blossoming. Um, the peach trees start blossoming. If you get a dwarf variety, it's probably about the second year they'll start giving you fruit. Apple trees, same thing. I noticed that they said that the information I read said anywhere from was it 2 to 4 years or something like that. Don't hold me to that, but it wasn't 4 years because, um, like I said, I put the food down there underneath of them. Which, like I said before, when I cut my grass, that goes down there. When I cut, uh, uh, like I said, the weeds. Uh, I put that down in the wood is put down there, and I don't be playing around. The wood around the trees. I don't go out and buy wood chips or shavings. If I get a load of wood chips and the guy dumps it in my spot where I need it in the yard, I'll get a wheelbarrow. I'll take some over there to the tree and dump it around the tree about 2 to 3 inches deep. Push it away from the trunk of the tree about 6 to 8 inches off of that tree and leave it there. In the winter time, it'll keep the ground nice and warm so it doesn't damage those roots. When it really starts getting around 5 degrees, 3 degrees, it'll hold that tree, that warmth around those roots. Also, um, in the summertime, it affects the trees when you get too much heat on the ground. When that soil starts getting up around 160 degrees and all that, all your items in your yard pretty much, depending on the variety of the plant, just go dormant and they will sit there not growing very much at all. But with the wood chips there, that area will stay moist and it will stay cooler than it would normally would. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will say see you later because I'm the morning gardener. Got to get ready for work tomorrow. But it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun talking to each and every one of you. And I'm hoping to build my audience. I'm hoping to build my audience. Right now tonight, I feel gifted. I had anywhere from I had 7 people, then I had 6 people, and back to seven, and that's a good deal. I appreciate it. It is what it is, and I do appreciate it. I try to share the information because I think that each and every one of us can help each other. We can do that. And the more food we grow, the stronger we'll become because we're not dependent solely on big industry to deliver our food. This has been the Morning Garden.